All right, it is time. It has been long enough. I have not stepped on a bodybuilding stage. Now, here's what you can and here's what you cannot expect from this competitive season. So first things first, I'm not actually competing soon. It's going to be somewhere around August is when I'm going to start. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a full competitive season. I have not done this yet. So far, I've gone in, I've done a couple shows, all within the span of maybe like 2 weeks, and then it's done. It's over, go have Thanksgiving, whatever else. This time, my plan is to do a full season, which means that I'm gonna be competing in multiple shows. Hopefully, we can win a pro card and then do a pro debut. That would be nice. I do not expect to be a top level pro by any means, but it would be nice to see kind of what the overall competition is like. Put myself out there, see what happens. But no, I am not going to be on the level of the top guys. It's just, I've seen what some of these guys look like and it is insane. But it should be at least fun for you guys to see. And what I'm also going to do is I'm going to be competing in multiple divisions. So when it comes to bodybuilding, you have different federations. Sorry, I shouldn't say divisions. Divisions, typically people are referring to like open, classic, and men's physique.
You ain't bouncing, you ain't doing it right.
But I'm going to be hopefully doing at least one show OCB, at least one show INBF or WMBF, INBA. I think they go INBA then WMBF. Basically, a different federation. They're both natural organizations. Then I would also like to do at least one NPC untested show, and I would also like to do one NPC natural show. So 4 shows total is at least the starting point. And from there, if we happen to get a pro card, then we can take and we can say, all right, what do pro debuts look like at that point? But in order to make it so that I have enough time to complete all of these things before obviously the holidays, because my wife never wants me dieting during the holidays, I would need to start early. So typically my shows have started somewhere around October in the past, but now I'm obviously gonna be starting closer to August. If there happens to be something in July that I end up doing, maybe so be it. But overall, I also want to do summer shredding. That is what we can take a look at. Now, I am going to try, all right? I'm going to try to bring a look that you guys have not seen before. I have been good in the past. I think I can be better. Every single time I want to go to stage, I want to bring something a little bit better than last time. So first season that I went to stage, I would have said that I needed to lose a decent amount more body fat to be my best. And I did for the next time. But I also think that I think that I could have come in fuller, right? So like I got a decent amount leaner, but I think I could have been fuller at that leanness. But I also think I could have been slightly leaner, right? I know you guys are like, oh, you were very lean. Yes, very lean versus how lean I want to be in my head are two very, very different things. So the goal is to see just how lean we can get. But because we're doing a full competitive season, we can play around with different tactics for filling out, manipulation, play around with variables, and see if we can bring a fuller look at a leaner body fat. And if we can do that, it could be something
mediocre.
Yeah, you guys vastly overestimate my potential in bodybuilding. And it always drives me crazy because I work with guys who are legitimately just phenomenal, right? Shape-wise, the way that their muscles insert, all of it is just better. And then you guys are like, oh, well, you're one of the top natural bodybuilders. No. Heck no.
500 cigarettes.
There are some crazy people out there. I do like to compete, not necessarily because I think I'm a top level bodybuilder, but because it allows me to have some fun with you guys. It allows me to learn things about myself. It's a fun process, right? And I think sometimes what happens is people are like, well, I would compete in bodybuilding. I really love it, but I'm not gonna be the best. Therefore, I'm like, it's not really about that, right? Yes, you can say, you would love to be the Mr. Olympia someday. But just because you're not the most gifted athlete out there doesn't mean that you can't try to achieve something pretty crazy on stage. And for some people, that's just conditioning, right? It might not necessarily be about being super big, but can you be more conditioned than everybody else on stage? That's a big accomplishment. Can you come in there and have your posing nailed? Big accomplishment. That's another thing. I need to work on my posing because my posing sucks. You guys know that. You're like, oh, well, you're a coach. How could your posing suck? It's like, I can coach posing and still not be practicing it myself. It's like it's like when you see the managers in football leagues, soccer for the Americans, and you're like, oh, well, they aren't as good as their players. Well, yeah, but they can still tell their players how to move, how to do things. It's the same thing when it comes to posing. I need to spend more time in the lab posing, especially with how bad my physique is. I need to be able to show it off at least a little bit better so I don't look like a square block the entire time I'm on stage. But it should be a fun season, guys, and I am looking forward to making lots of videos. Road to full season, I don't really know what to call it. I got my pro card in the OCB a couple years ago, but technically I don't think I'm a pro anymore because it expires after a certain amount of time. And I think as of right around now, I think it would be expired. So technically speaking, I'm not a pro anymore. So this could be road to pro. Yeah, they do this thing where you have to kind of like maintain it. So 2 years have passed, no longer a pro. Do I expect to be way bigger than last time? I don't. I legitimately don't. There's been various things that I've dealt with over the last couple years. Injury-wise, timing-wise, I just haven't been able to lock into the same degree as I would like to with just business and... Don't tell her I said this, but the wife's affinity to the gym has not been as... No, I'm just kidding. I can't blame her. Not fully. But I don't think that I am going to come in a crap ton bigger than I did the last time. Especially in the leg department. Had a bummed knee for a long time that I've been trying to heal. It honestly feels pretty good right now, and I've been pushing things harder over the last little while, but my legs were never a super big strong point anyways, so them being a little bit smaller is not the end of the world. It's going to be an interesting show. So let me talk to you guys about how I like to think about preps and how I like to set up, because obviously we're talking about this a long time ahead. So what will the next little while look like? And for me, so my timeline for prep 2026 is I want to be ready ahead of time. I think a lot of times what happens is people look to their show date and then they say, oh, okay, well, I need to be ready by show. Honestly, you should probably, unless you are just the most dialed person, you've done this a billion times, you should probably try to be ready a month early, if not more, just because of the fact that often what happens is, especially in the latter stages, people start to really mentally go through it. There might be things that happen that are out of their control. And then there's also the things that are in your control, but you just didn't realize you had a little bit more to give. And I don't want to be rushing into the end stages. As you get further along in prep, the way I like to put it is this. You want to lose weight slower at the end of prep than at the beginning, because you have less overall resources to give, right? So if you take a person who is 7% body fat and you put them on a very, very low calorie diet, they are much more likely to lose muscle than a person who is 20% body fat on a very low calorie diet. So when you're getting down to those lower stages, what happens a lot of times is people actually decrease their calories over the course of prep. And I am very, very against this unless you have to do it in order to actually make it to stage. So if you have to do it to make it to stage, so be it. But if that's what you're planning on doing, I think you have the wrong mentality. I think your plan should either be to keep the calories the same or increase them going into show. Because what this does is this makes it so that as your resources get lower, as micronutrients become more important, as your overall macros become more important, and your gym performance becomes more important, not even more important, but just harder to maintain on low calories, then you have a little bit more to give and you can actually make it so that you're not losing as much muscle going into show. The last 4 weeks of prep, if you bottom out your calories, you'd be very, very shocked at how much you can actually lose in terms of muscle if you're having to crash yourself into show. And that's not what I want to do. What I would do is this, right? If I'm planning this out right now, my goal is to stay around the 190 to 195 pound range. That's where I am right now. I feel good here. I'm overall not fat, right? Like I'm lean-ish, right? Not lean enough that I'm struggling in the gym, but lean enough that it's like, okay, this would be a good starting point for prep and it wouldn't be a ridiculously hard prep. That's why I'm not gonna like try and do this arbitrary bulk to get into the 200s. If I did that, all I would be doing at that point is making the prep harder on myself. So staying somewhere in this 190 to 195 range, eating enough in order to make that happen, which is also eating enough for good performance. As long as I can do that, maintain my muscle, maybe build a little bit, especially in the legs, just because I can now push them a little bit harder. So I actually do have a capability of maybe putting on a few pounds of muscle over the next 4 months or so, just because of the fact that my legs haven't been able to be trained the same way for the last little while, but now I can pretty much go full out on them. So hopefully put on a few pounds of muscle in the lower half department, upper body. We're basically maintaining at this point. And then around February is when I really start to look at things, right? So the show, if I want to be ready by like July, August, I really start to look at things in February. And what I would probably do is I would start around beginning of February, about February 5th. And what I would do is I would move my calories down relatively low, right? And when I say low, I'm not talking like 1200 or anything like that, but below 2000, right? I like to start a little bit more aggressive, just shave off a bit real quick, get myself into a nice state where it's like, okay, I can coast a little bit more throughout the rest of prep. So I would go down under 2000. And then what I would do is I will build calories up throughout the course of prep. So I should be able to, assuming I'm keeping up with my steps, cardio, everything else, I should be able to have a maintenance in the mid 2000s by the end of prep, right? So my maintenance right now is in the mid 2000s. But that's because I'm not doing a lot of activity. I'm not doing a lot of steps, which I should be doing when I'm on prep. So my goal is to have my maintenance be around the mid 2000s by the end of prep, which obviously is going to require a decent amount of activity because I'm going to be down regulated a decent amount. That will mean that I'm able to actually start a little bit lower under the 2000 range and build my calories up. Obviously, when I first start, my expenditure will be a little bit higher, right? When you first start a prep, what happens is your caloric expenditure will go up pretty fast and your body hasn't like down regulated, your heartbeat's not slowing down. Yeah, like it's pretty insane once you start to get down close to stage leanness. By the time I was at the end of my prep last time, my heartbeat was in the 30s, right? This is like your body legitimately just slows down, right? It's like, okay, we don't want to do any more than we have to. So in order to make up for that, you want to make sure that you have more time, make sure you can build things up over time, and then obviously be doing your steps and cardio, whatever else you need. I'm not a huge cardio guy, so yeah, I might throw some in there, but mostly I like to get my stuff through steps. I can just be a little bit more productive on my phone. Do I need to do? I can throw in an incline sometimes if I need to, but you can do a lot of what you need to do through steps, especially if you have a good amount of time. So I would start a little bit under 2000, build my calories up by 100 each time I hit a certain goal. As of now, this is subject to change. As of now, my goal is to put myself on about 1800 calories until I get down to 185, right? That should not take me long. I could get down to 185. If I really wanted to, I could get down to 185 in literally a week right now if I wanted to. But obviously I'm not pushing things super hard at that point. So it'll be a little bit more even 185, not necessarily all water weight, which is something that people do. They're like, oh, I lost 10 pounds and it was like 8 pounds of water. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about like a legitimate 185. I would move my calories up, right? So each time I hit a certain weight benchmark, I would move my calories up. And obviously all of this is subject to change, right? So don't be like, oh, well, you said you did this. This is just the overall generalized plan. And it's more so if I was to start prepping right now. If I go down to 185, move up to 1900, get down to 181, move up to 1900. And as it goes further along, these differences in weights become lower, right? So the first one is losing approximately like 7 or 8 pounds, right? Before I move my calories up. Then the next one is approximately 4 pounds down before I move my calories up. Then the next one is 3 pounds down before I move my calories up. And what this does is this makes it so that as the weight loss naturally slows, you are taking and you're giving yourself a little bit more, and you're just like, you're coming in like with a little bit more energy and a little bit more drive. And what a lot of people do is they actually do the opposite, right? So they would start on their mid 2000s number, and then they would take and they move it down to like 2400, then 2300, and then 20, and they do this all the way through to prep, and they're just dying by the end of prep, right? If you have the time, building calories is just chef's kiss. What I like to do with my clients, if assuming they have enough time, is to build them into show, or at the very least, not drop their calories near the end. Now, sometimes obviously some things happen, you know, somebody goes off plan a little bit, or if you have the time, If you plan it appropriately, you can actually take and maintain your calories all the way to show or build them up, which is a phenomenal way to go. So overall, I hope to step on stage. I would like to step on stage at around 170 pounds. I think that could be a very good look for me. I think if I get down below 170, then it would probably be because there was some muscle loss. But I think I can be, if I'm fully shredded and full, I think I can be 170 on stage. So I might touch lower than 170 throughout the course of prep, but that doesn't necessarily mean I stay down there, right? So I might get down to, I don't know, 165, like fully dry to the bone, like flat, depleted, whatever else. But then when I start intaking food again, water, then I should probably reasonably bounce back up to 170-ish. Could I be a little bit heavier? Maybe. Could I be a little bit lighter? Maybe. That's not really the right. What will happen is people will get these arbitrary goals in their head as to, I need to be this weight. I'm like, okay, well, why? And it's because they've associated a certain look with that weight. The more you can get that out of your head and the more you understand, okay, the weight is a helpful tool for seeing the way things are progressing, but ultimately it's the look that you're after. If I had to be 155 pounds on stage, I'd do it, right? I know I wouldn't have to, but if I had to, I'd do it. If I need that for the look, so be it. If I need it to be 180 for the look, so be it. If I need it to be it doesn't matter, right? What you're going for is you're going for a look on stage that cannot be fully elucidated until you actually get down to that level. So it should be fun. It should be fun. And I will keep you guys posted. 300-ish days out. And then as we get closer, obviously it gets more exciting. But for now, all we're going to be doing is we're going to be maintaining our weight around 190 to 195. Keeping that range, that's enough for me to perform well. I have enough body fat on my body in order to do what I need to do. You can obviously see there's like a split in the bicep, a little bit of stuff going through here, but it's not like the insane leanness that you see when you're on stage, right? We should be able to bring something we've never brought before, which I'm super excited for, because there's always been a piece of me that's like, all right, next time I go to stage, I'm going to bring something you guys have never seen from me before. And I'm going to be hopefully able to inspire a lot of you guys. And that's really why I compete more than anything else. I compete more so, like if it was just me and my wife, I might not even compete, right? I'm being completely honest with you. I might not. But I like to be able to inspire you guys, make content surrounding it. It's a lot of fun. And it's also, I find it more fun to talk about bodybuilding when you've been there. So when I'm talking about like conditioning or fullness and I'm talking about all this stuff when it comes to other bodybuilders, it's like there's something about when you've tried to accomplish the things that these guys are doing, or you have accomplished things that these guys are doing, then it makes it more real when you talk about it. Because I'll see people, they'll get back in their chair and be like, guy should have come in leaner. And it's like, bro, you've literally never been below 10% body fat in your life, right? It feels wrong. It feels wrong to criticize those aspects without actually having tried this stuff yourself, because it's more than just, and this is where I get passionate, right? It's more than just, oh, well, simply eat less. It's like, yes, but you don't understand the mental and physical impacts that can have. Oh, well, I mean, as long as you're in a deficit long enough, it's like, yes, but you don't understand what that can do to muscle, right? How you can come in stringy, how you can actually lose muscle through the process. Oh, just keep working out. It's like, yes, but your workout performance is going to suffer. So now how do you adapt to that? How do you figure out how to make your workout performance good in spite of the fact that you're dying? Overall, for me, bodybuilding is just fun. I love it. Now that I'm saying this, I'm like, yeah, I probably would compete even if you guys weren't around. But it's gonna be fun. I'm very excited for it. I hope you guys are too. And I will keep you guys updated consistently on the way to show. But for now, we gotta see, can we lock in for 3 to 4 months? And can we, at this stage in our career, put on any muscle? It's not going to be much. I mean, I'm pretty far along at this point, but can we put on some muscle before we have to go to stage? A little bit, just a little bit. Guys, as always, love you guys. Appreciate you guys. 300 days out. Let's go. TNF out.